Welcome everybody to this very special experience today. If you are watching this on the replay or live, this experience I've shared, we did this together last fall, I believe, right, Kyla? We did it in September. We did an Instagram live where I tapped and you did breath work.
It was the fall. Yeah, fall of 2023.
And we got so many comments and messages about it that I was like, okay, we need to do more of this.
Yeah.
And so come spring, we're collaborating again. And I'm so excited today. I really wanted to focus this session on like your $1,000,000 self and that version of you and using breath work to activate that. So that's our theme for today. Welcome, Kyla, to the All Access Pass and to the Unconventional Woman membership. I'm going to give this to them as a bonus. They don't know that yet. So
Lucky ladies.
they will be receiving this as well. I would love for you to share with everybody a little bit about you, your business, and what we can expect today.
Yeah, thank you. It's so good to be here. So I work in the realm of somatics, embodiment, and breathwork. Breathwork is my primary modality, and I'm mildly obsessed with it and very excited to share it. And to be really honest, I had no idea what breathwork was. I came from a fitness background and a yoga background, and I assumed breathwork was what I was leading people through in yoga. And it wasn't until I dropped into a class that I realized that is absolutely not at all the same thing. And it changed everything for me. And that's a whole story. And we'll maybe go there another time. I have a podcast that talks all about it. We could send you there for the story, but breathwork changed everything. I burned my business to the ground, my 15-year personal training business to the ground after finding breathwork and stepped into this whole new wild world. And it feels like I've just been here forever. This feels like home. And so I'm really excited to share all just like snippets. I can't even say all the pieces because I'm not sharing all the pieces. I'm going to share snippets. Yeah. And I love that you're in these communities working on that millionaire self. Jackie and I were just talking really briefly before hitting work or before letting the room in and hitting record of how that thread, that kind of energy is really present in my life right now. And just before we got on, I was listening to the playlist for our practice today and just totally busted into tears. And it's like, it's the feeling. And this is exactly what we're going to be working on is it's accessing our feelings, it's accessing our body. And I, for one, spent most of my life up until my mid to late 30s in my head, fully locked in my head, disconnected from my body, expecting life to become the way I wanted it to be. But I could, you can't think your way into something that really is this feeling, which is exactly why Jackie does what Jackie does, and I do what I do. It's of the body. And so I'm going to be bringing us into the body. And so speaking on that, emotions are really welcome. I just want to say that when we work with the body, we're accessing old storylines, we're accessing old beliefs. And I know that you all know this. I'm just going to say it again so that like anchors in. Those parts are true and real and valid and worthy. And if we don't access them and we leave them stuck in there, they're going to start taking up a heck of a lot of room that we got better things to put in there. We've got our $1,000,000 to be stuffing in there. And so these practices and the practice I'm going to run us through today is all about getting into the feeling state of that millionaire self, getting into the vibration of, getting into the frequency of, so that ultimately we become that magnet, right? And again, like I'm preaching to the choir. I know you all know this. And I think I know it as well. And the reminders are really important, like every day, maybe. And so I'm not going to tell you exactly all the details now of what we're going to do. We'll get through it. It's going to be beautiful. But what I would invite us to do before we actually drop into the practice is, because maybe we're in our head right now, we're sitting, we're present, we're listening, we might be taking notes, we're like, we're logical. So just wherever you are, maybe you're seated, maybe you want to stand, just going to I'm going to stay seated so I don't knock my mic over, but just like give your body a full shake and get out of your mind and into your body and like maybe even open the mouth and let out a funny sound or a big breath. But just invite yourself, like shake your bum, shake your shoulders, shake your boobs, shake your belly, shake your legs, like really get into the body. and invite the energy to shift a little bit. Allow yourself to even like feel a bit wild and silly, and maybe move in ways that you don't normally move. Notice if you're shaking in the same way. What if I shook? What if I twisted? What if I did it differently? And really get your body to explore its beautiful expression. Like it can't be wrong. It just can't be wrong. And letting that come back into a space of stillness. And just even in that moment, you can feel it. I know you can feel it. I was sitting and I can feel it. There's a shift in energy. We're feeling temperature. We might be feeling sweat. We might be feeling tingles. We're now feeling the body. We're now in the body. And this is where we want to be. This is where the magic is. This is where the wisdom is. You know, we have thoughts and education lands in our brain. Thank God for that. But our wisdom has lived and will live in our body. And there's so much here. There's so much here. And not to say that we're better than, because we're not, but wow, especially for women. Like, oh, there's so much here. Okay. So much here. So I would love to know just quickly in the chat, and we've got a small group live, so this is going to be really quick and sweet. Those of you catching the replay, I'm going to ask you to do this on your own. So grab a little journal or notepad or something like that so that you can just track this for yourself. But just going into when we think about, you know, millionaire self, and for some of you, maybe it legitimately is, yes, $1 million is my next goal. Amazing. And it might be not your next, maybe 500,000 is next, maybe 100,000 is next. It doesn't matter. It's all the same energy. It's all the same frequency. And so when we step into that, I know for me, I know the truth for me right now is that there in the past, and still it still lives there a little bit, creeps in things like doubt or fear or worry or question or the how. Like there's, you know, wow, there's so many other pieces that sneak in. So let me know if one of those little suckers sneaks in and what it is. So is it fear? Is it worry? Is it self-doubt? Is it I don't know how? Like what is it that sneaks in? And again, if you're watching the replay, write this down, and maybe there's more than one, but it's really important that we get familiar with that, not only the word of it, but really also familiar with the feeling of that. And so we will do a little bit of a practice with that. So I see in the chat, there's the I don't know how. Yeah. What if I fail? Totally. Wanting to do it differently than I have before, resistance to taking the action. Yeah. And I wonder what even like the emotion behind the resistance to taking action, like, is that fear? Is it, yeah, because I don't want it to feel like it did before. Yeah. Which I think might land in like, ooh, fear, worry. So with that, let's just go ahead and take a moment to come back into the body. So wherever you are right now, just let the eyes close down. And this isn't going to be our highlight. This isn't going to be the most amazing feeling of our practice, but it's going to be short and it's important. So eyes are closed. We're coming back into this beautiful wise body. And just take a couple breaths here. Just let yourself breathe, just a really natural, easy breath, just in your body. You cannot do this wrong. So I want you to, just for a moment, to go into that feeling. Again, if it's fear or doubt, I don't know how, I don't want it to feel like it did before, really going into that enough that you can feel the body respond. And so it's this practice of listening to the body. And we need to know, if we're going to take steps to move into this life that we're creating and expanding into, we have to know, like we know, like we know, like we know. So what is the body sensation when you start to land in that fear, worry, doubt, question? And so you might notice temperature changes. Maybe there's like a pit in the stomach. Maybe there's a contraction in the chest and the tummy. You might feel like your shoulders slumping forward, just really starting to tune in. How does my body respond to this feeling of fill in the blank, fear, doubt, worry, scarcity, lack? Really feel it. We're not going to stay here forever, but let your body be there. Really let your body be there. What is happening in your body? And get clear, like snapshot that in your mind, snapshot that in your heart to know the indicator of, oop, going into that behavior again, going into that behavior again. Get really clear. Okay, my body does this when I start to slide back into those old beliefs, those old stories. And it's not bad. It's actually beautiful information. It's really, really good information. And let the list be as big as possible, you know, like, ooh, I notice my hands clench. I notice my teeth clench. I notice my mind starts to race a little bit, coming up with ideas. I notice my heart starts to flutter. I notice I cross my legs a lot. I notice I fidget. Like, really let the list be big so that you have more to look out for, so you don't miss it. And again, it's not bad. It's really good information. We're really thankful for it. And so when you feel like you've got that, okay, it clears a bell. I know what those are. I might invite you to write that down just as reminders if you feel like you need to, or if they're just anchored in you. You're like, I don't need a reminder. I know exactly what that is. And so I personally really believe that we have two primary feelings that guide our choices, guide our life, really: contraction and expansion. And I'm going to guess that in the feelings that we just went into, there was probably contraction. There was probably a tightening. There was probably a closing. I would put all of my money on it that there was some version of a contraction happening inside of your body when we go into the idea of fear or worry or doubt or scarcity or blah, 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 all of those feelings. And from my teachings and from my experiences in life, contraction is the clearest indicator that that is not true. That's not yours. That's not true. That's not aligned. That's not the direction. That is not for you. Things that make us feel expansion, or like we can take a big breath, like our heart is opening, like we can, lean back, soften, relax, just be here, smile. The expansion, that is perfect indication that whatever that is that just made that happen, that is for you. That is true. That is right. That is a yes. And that we follow that. And so simple practices is, if you get invited to an event that you really don't want to go to, before you just answer, like, can you check in with your body? Are we going into a contraction, or is this a beautiful, sweet opening expansion? And if it's a contraction, we need to start practicing our no. That's a no, thank you. Or if it feels expansive, even if it feels scary, if there's an expansion there or a bit of kind of energy, that has to be a yes. And it's really our duty to follow those. To really get clear and follow those. And so when we think about ourself, our millionaire self, our wealthy self, our abundant self, our expansive self, our successful self, whatever words we're filling in, I assume, I bet, I again would put lots of money on it that it probably feels like big. It feels big, it feels open, it feels expansive. And that means it's for you. Now, a note on that, when I spoke earlier about, okay, maybe your next step is 500,000 or 100,000 or 50,000. Whatever the number, whatever the thing that makes you feel expansive, that's perfectly right. And so with that, let's say I bring in the number $750,000, and that actually makes you feel, oh, I don't know how. Then don't go there right now. Go to the one next, go down a bit, find one that feels like you can expand into that, and let that start to feel true. Let that start to feel true. You start to expand more open, or create more space, create more capacity. We start to learn, our nervous system starts to learn when we're in that energy that that's safe and good and true. And I can be here. So let yourself be at the 750,000 or the 500,000. If the million feels like in this moment, that's totally fine. We're going to create the space so that the million is just an easy fit. Easy fit. It's just going to pop right in there. And then you're going to be like, 5 million, 10 million. Yes. And it's going to feel so good. And you're going to have the space to hold it. You're going to have a nervous system to hold it. That's the piece too, is if we were raised in a family, in a community, in a society where that kind of money, and we're speaking about money, so we're going to just go with that, but this relates to everything, where that kind of money was non-existent. Oh my God, I couldn't even, like, $1 million. Are you kidding me? Our nervous system has learned that that is not for us, that is not, that's not good, that's not possible, that's not ultimately safe in our nervous system. And so what will happen if we don't start to shift that and do some work around that and cultivate a nervous system that can actually hold it, is we'll push it away and avoid it forever and ever. Amen. We'll find ways to either, maybe it'll come in, but we'll find ways to spend it, or maybe it just won't come in because we found ways to block it or to shut it down or just to say no and not go after the thing. So it really is this beautiful practice and act, and it takes a little bit of time, but it sure as heck doesn't have to take forever to cultivate a nervous system that actually feels like it can hold it. Yeah. So we're going to take maybe the next like 4 minutes to sit in the energy of our millionaire self, or whatever your number is. Whatever your number right now is. I'm going to play us some music. Oh, Jackie, can you give me sharing capabilities? Thank you. I'm going to play some music. It's a song that I think we probably all know. I was just telling Jackie, I listened to it before we started and I was a bawling mess. So let there be emotion. I might be crying as well. I promise to do my best to hold it together. So the idea with this practice is to get into the embodiment of this next version of self. So this part should feel so good. This part should feel really, really, really good. And then from there, I'm going to have no music just for a moment where we can kind of anchor back into ourselves. And then I'm going to guide us into about 15 minutes of breath work. And I typically, when I lead these breath sessions, they're about an hour to an hour and a half of active breath. Like we really go in. And these short sessions can feel so powerful. And so don't be like, oh, we're only getting 15 minutes of a practice that could be or should be an hour. No. This is enough. And the reason we're doing a shorter breath is to show you how tangible this is. I can do this every day. I can do, just like I can tap every day, I can drop into breath work. Maybe it's only 5 minutes. Doesn't matter. So I'll just explain right now how the breath will go. And then by the time we get there, you're already ready to rock and roll. So option when we move into the breath, you can stay seated or you can lay down. That's very much up to you. Your comfort is most important. So just tuning in, am I comfortable sitting or would I be better to relax and lay down? So that's up to you when we get there. The breath will be through an open mouth and we'll be breathing in a circular rhythm. And so I always describe the breath as the way the jellyfish moves in the sea, which I think is so beautiful. And so that your inhale, maybe this isn't obvious, I was going to say obviously, is the expansion of the jellyfish. So as we inhale, jellyfish expands, and our exhale is a soft release. And if you watch a jellyfish, you'll notice that there's no rigidity. There's no moment of stop. There's no moment of freeze. There's no moment of pause. There's no holding. It's in this really beautiful ebb and flow. And it's almost like one movement. You don't even know where it rolls into the next. It's really quite hypnotic and beautiful. And our bodies ultimately know how to breathe in that way. It's how we breathe when we're very first born. If you've ever, I trust there's many mummies in this group. And if you remember watching your sweet babe right away, breathing, there was this big breath and this soft release, and this big breath and this soft release. It's the way a puppy will breathe. And it's also the way we'll breathe when we take our last breath, our last few breaths. And the reason is when we're babies, we're literally perfect. Life is perfect. And we have nothing has bothered us yet. We don't have any of the restrictions yet. We don't have any walls up. We're not on the defense yet. We're in like, this is amazing. We are the jellyfish. And so we breathe with ease. And then we become full-grown humans and we have defense mechanisms and we have fears and we have all the things. And so we've got some resistance and that's totally fine. And then when we're coming to our last few breaths, given this is a natural death, which it will be for all of us in our old age, there will be our old wealthy age will be rolling in the dough in our bed, in our sleep passing. When we take those last few breaths, we will be in the ultimate place of surrender. We're like, came, conquered, did the thing. I have nothing else to fight. I have nothing else to worry about. Full surrender. And if you've had the, I'll say pleasure, honor of watching someone take their last few breaths, which I have, I can attest this is true. It's beautiful and easeful. And so our bodies ultimately know how to do this. And I say that because when you now, as your adult self, with all of your stuff and all of our like edges, your mind will come in and you know, you're not doing it right, or you should do it differently, or she says to do this, or why is she breathing slower? Why is she breathing faster? Or I should do that. No, you're doing it right. You're doing it right. So just coming back to the body, and that's a really fun little mindfulness moment as well in a breathwork practice where the intention, you see that where the intention is to be in the body. If you're thinking in your mind, come back to the body, find your breath, come back to the body, find your breath. Jackie, you have a question.
Yeah. So last time I did this with you, I've done breath work a few times and it's extremely activating for me. Like, I don't know if it just
Mm-hmm,
works really well for me or
mm-hmm.
the last time I did it with you, I had lung injury, right? I had blood
Yeah,
clots in my hearts I was very activated very quickly.
yeah,
And it also made me really dizzy. And I'm
yeah.
curious if that is something that everybody feels or it's common to feel, or
Mm-hmm,
if that was just me because of
mm-hmm.
what was happening
Yeah.
in my body at that time.
We were sitting, weren't we? Yeah, we were doing it. Yeah, we were sitting. So sitting does tend to make you feel a bit more dizzy in this. That is often why lying down is nicer because you're just fully supported. There's a big oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange happening. So that makes a lot of sense to feel like, ooh, and it is bringing us into an altered state of consciousness. So yes, again, that is going to make you feel like a bit, ooh, and it is an activating breath. So and I'm glad you brought that up. This is not a like Om Shanti, we're finishing a yoga class and having a mellow breathing practice. This is to activate. So the origins of this breath work actually came from therapeutic trauma release in the 60s and 70s. So it is activating. It is like pulling those pieces to the surface that really no longer need to be there. And with that caveat, our body's insanely intelligent. We have a lot of internal defense mechanisms, little soldiers in there. Anything that is actually too much for you won't surface. It just wouldn't. Your body would never bring that to you. Similar to tapping, it just won't bring it to you. And so what does surface, right? If you're feeling activated and woo, there's a lot here, know that it might be uncomfortable. There might be an emotion or a story or a memory come up that is like, oh, but it's not too much. It might be uncomfortable and it's not too much. And so with that, I will say probably laying down we'll just maybe suggest everyone lay down because that does feel a lot better, especially for 15 minutes. And and what's really cool about breath work is that you're in complete control and choice. So you can always slow it down. You can come out of it. Yeah, you really do get full choice on that. But what I would also invite, if anyone is feeling like, oh, I don't know, this feels activating, I don't think I want to go there, your body just come back to that knowing that your body is incredibly wise and is only trying to bring you something that will help clear the path so you can move forward. Like your body is not like, oh, I really want to hurt her right now. Like that's not the game. So just know that you're so supported and you can choose. You can slow down, you can speed it up, you can sit, you can lay. Yeah.
And this may be helpful for other people. Like maybe you've done this many times and maybe you're brand new, but the first time I experienced breath work, one of the biggest thoughts for me was fear of losing control, which
Mm-hmm.
was still linked to other things I was going through, but losing
Mm-hmm.
control of my body almost like, what if I can't get my breath?
Mm-hmm.
what if this dizziness doesn't go away? What, and
Mhm.
like, but that is part of what's meant to happen, is it's starting to, if I'm correct, right? It's starting to
Yeah.
come up to like move that out of you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wanted to speak to that, or if you have anything to say
Mhm.
about that, if you do feel, because that's what I
Mhm.
felt the first time I did it was in Bali, and it was really intense breath work, and there was like people crying next to me, and I just felt like, I was like, wow, this is just wild. Like my
Mhm.
fingers were tingling and
Yeah.
all this stuff was happening to my body. Enjoyed it. But I also remember feeling like, oh, am I gonna lose control? Like,
Mhm.
am I gonna go too far too fast, or like not be able to come back to feeling normal again?
Yeah.
I'm curious if you can speak to that.
Yeah, I get that a lot. And the fear of losing control, that's a thing for me for sure, whether it's breath work or like plant medicine or anything that is uh there's a bit of unknown. There's a bit of unknown, right? Your body is a mystical, wonderful machine, and it is bringing us again, we're working with the subconscious body. It is unknown. I mean, it's known, but our conscious mind is oblivious. So it's all unknown. And kind of. And so it offers us an opportunity to trust ourselves, to trust the wisdom of our body, to trust, trust in spirit, to trust a process. Like, wow, trust is I think it's a huge piece for everybody, even this conversation about like making, stepping into that millionaire self. Well, you have to trust yourself to make some probably hard decisions and big steps and do things differently. Like there has to be a really solid level of trust, and this is no different. I trust my breath. I trust my breath. I trust my body. I trust my wisdom. I trust my intuition. I trust, like that's kind of the practice. Um your body will always come back to normal. So if you're, oh, my heart rate's really fast, or I'm feeling my hands are getting tense, like, or there's so much tingling, I don't even know what to do. There's so much energy moving through my hands and my arms. Oh my gosh, is that ever going to be normal? Yes, once the breath comes back to normal. And what I find really fascinating, and some of you might really feel this, is the tingles in your hands and arms and your body. Some people feel tingles in their face, and I I talk about this when that comes up in sessions, is that's just your energy, and that's there all the time. But we're just so hyper stimulated and busy and disconnected that we don't feel it. But that's not new. That's actually there all the time. That's your energy. That's your magic. That's you. And it's so interesting how that makes us nervous. We're like, what is that? And it's just you. It's your like potency. And so there's a big practice of trust. Like, I got me. Even if my conscious, logical, primal, survival, mammalian brain is like, you gotta get out of here. Your subconscious, your body is like, no, I got you. I got you. Just like, for the love of God, just trust me finally for once.
So good. I'm so glad I asked that question, because I could have a whole other conversation, but I just wanted to bring it up in case anybody
Mhm.
is new and you've never done it before, to
Mhm.
tell you some of the things that I've experienced that I was like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that, or I didn't see that coming. And just to know that you're
Mhm.
safe,
Yeah.
it's all happening for you. And like you said,
Yes,
got you. So good.
exactly. Yay. Okay. So, with that, we're going to go into the first part, which is just the really sweet anchoring in that powerful, powerful feeling. And then we'll drop into some breath work. There's two songs that we'll actually do active breath to. And then the tone in music is definitely changing. I like to have a bit of like amped up music when I breathe. It like really invigorates that like warrior goddess, powerful, like lioness. It's definitely not like soft and beautiful, but it will end soft and beautiful. Okay, so we're gonna start soft and beautiful and inspirational. We're gonna move into powerful, and then we're gonna end on like soft and beautiful. Okay. So for this part, you're welcome to be seated. You're totally also welcome to lay down, and we're just gonna move into that visualization. that embodiment of this wealthy, wealthy, wonderful self. And so let your eyes close down. And I'm not going to speak so much during this. I want you to really just allow yourself to take the time. The song is 3 minutes long. Allow yourself 3 minutes to be in your vision, to be in your dream, to be in your goals and your manifestations and your millionaire self. And I want you to bring to your mind, maybe it's the moment that it all happens. Maybe there's a moment that you can see your bank account numbers go from, 999 550 to a million. Like you see the payment come in and ding, whatever the moment is. I want you to really see it, feel it, see who you're with, who's there, what are you wearing, what are you hearing, what are you tasting, all of it. Allow yourself to feel the juiciness and the goodness of what you're creating. And as you're in this visualization,
when we were kids in the backyard,
let your breath be
playing
full,
astronauts and rock stars.
just through your
No one
nose.
told us to stop it. Called
Full
us
breath.
unrealistic.
Feed
Then
yourself this
suddenly
life
you're
force.
18. Go to college for your plan B.
You are
What you
deserving of
want
it.
is too risky. Live for weekends and whiskey. We all got these big ideas. One day they're replaced with fear. How did we get here? Darling, don't quit your daydream. It's your life that you're making. It ain't big enough if it doesn't scare the hell out of you. If it makes you nervous, it's probably worth it. Why save it for sleep when you could be living your daydream?
I want you to feel this even deeper.
31 waiting tables. She has a voice of an
How do you
angel.
celebrate?
Out of money and
How does she
power.
celebrate?
She only sings in the shower.
What does she
All
wear?
these things we say we'll get
How does
to,
she spend time with her friends and her loved
reasons
ones?
not to.
Mhm.
Darling, don't quit your daydream. It's your life that you're making.
Let
It
your
ain't big
whole
enough
body
if
feel
it doesn't
this.
scare the hell out of you.
Let yourself be her right now.
If it makes you nervous, it's probably worth it. Why save it for sleep when you could be living your daydream? So scared of failure that we fail to try. Turning around before the finish line. Gotta fall for a minute before you can fly. So daydream, it's your life that you're making. It ain't big enough if it doesn't scare the hell out of you. If it makes you nervous, it's probably worth it. Why save it for sleep when you could be living your daydream? Why save it for sleep when you should be living your daydream?
Stay with that feeling, stay with that visual. Stay with her. Stay with her. Let her take up space. Stay with her. And we're going to take that energy. We're going to take that bigness, that enoughness, that yes. We're going to take that and we're going to cultivate it into your power. We're going to bring the power into your body, back into the space of wisdom. You're going to hear me guide you into the breath. For now, just stay with your natural breath. Letting the inhale come through your nose and the exhale out your nose. And invite the inhale now just to deepen and lengthen. So maybe now it's about 4 seconds or 5 seconds long. Big, juicy inhale. And soft exhale. And letting the mouth open now. And take your next big breath in through your mouth. And out your mouth, let it fall away. Breathing in again, full inhale through the mouth. Exhale falls. And there's no pause at the bottom. No pause at the top, just like the jellyfish. In full trust, in full surrender, in full knowing that you are ultimately so supported. You cannot do this wrong. I promise you it's impossible for you to do this wrong. And soften your jaw and soften your throat. Breath is full, vibrant inhale. Fill your belly. Feel your chest. Exhale just drops away. It's not your concern. Let it go. Breathe in again. Exhale falls. Good. Breathe in again. No pause at the top, no pause at the bottom. And on your next exhale, let the breath fall and hold empty. Holding in the empty, holding in that space of in between, maybe of unknown, of mystery, of what if in the darkness of that void, the magic in here, the endless possibilities. Can you feel it? Feel your heart, feel the pulsation of your body. Stay with the hold just a little bit longer. Trust yourself, trust yourself. And in 3, 2, 1, big sweet breath in, soft exhale, and just come back into that flow. Full breath in, I trust my breath. Exhale falls. And you get to choose here, my love. You choose. You can go fast, you can go slow. What do you need? You can trust your body. You don't have to push, you don't have to force. That is not the way. Soften your jaw. Soften your throat. The back of your brain softens. And your breath is so full. And it's so easy. And it fills you with the reminder. It fills you with that power. It fills you with yourself even more. Every breath, breathing in. Exhale falls. We practice letting go in the exhale. We practice giving back. We practice the release of what is no longer needed, what needs to go. We practice with the exhale. Good. Breathing again, fully and completely in. Fill your belly. Fill your chest. Exhale drops. And our inhale reminds us how we receive. And so notice, check in with yourself here, my dear. How are you receiving? Are you open to receiving? Is there resistance? Can you meet that resistance with presence, with compassion, and just stay there and breathe? You might even feel to massage or tap on this part. Where's the resistance? The resistance isn't bad. It isn't bad. It's information. Be with it, tap it, massage it, love it, breathe here. All parts of me welcome. All parts of me welcome. My fear is welcome. The worry is welcome. The judgment is welcome. I'm just going to be with it and breathe with it and tap it, massage it. And stay with your breath. Stay with your body. Stay with your breath. And soften your jaw. And soften that inner space of your throat. And what if the breath felt easy? What if you could invite it here to be easy for you? What if it felt easy? If it didn't have to be work, if it didn't have to be so hard, what else could feel easy? What else could feel easy for you? And stay with your breath and notice the resistance. Is it still here? Has it changed? And I might invite you here. Is there sound? What would the sound be of this feeling? If it's expansion, if it's excitement, what's the sound? Is it resistance? What does that sound like? Inviting yourself full permission, let it have a voice. If it's anger, if it's frustration, it's so welcome, let it have a voice. And with that, give yourself some shake, give yourself some movement. Again, invite your body to let it move. It doesn't have to hold so tight. Yeah, so you might even shake your hands up to the ceiling, shake your shoulders, all the way down the spine, shaking your bum, letting there be sound. I don't have to hold this. I don't have to hold this. Not anymore. Not anymore. Good. Stay with your sweet breath. Your body knows exactly what to do. It knows exactly what to do. And you're doing it right. Good. Breathing again. Full inhale. Fill your belly. Fill your chest. Exhale falls. And exhale just falls. I can let go with ease. I let go with ease. And watch how you receive. Watch the life force that comes in when you let go. How much space there is to receive when we let go. I'm going to invite you again on your next exhale. Let the breath fall and hold empty. Find yourself back in that space, that magical space in between void. It's the womb, where all you can hear is the beating of your heart. All you feel is the pulsation inside of you, that life force, your fire, your knowing, your wisdom, your magic. It's right here. I want you to feel it. And take a big breath in, breathe with it. Let it move through your body. Full breath in. Soft exhale. This life is for you. Everything you want is for you. Good, and staying just a little bit longer, breathing in. No pause at the top, no pause at the bottom. Full breath. Find the jellyfish. Come back into your body, find the jellyfish. Full expansion, soft release. And again, inviting your body to sound, to express, to move in the way it needs to. The energy, the holding moves out through movement, through sound, through breath. Let that all be there for you. The old stories, how do they leave? What do the old stories sound like as they're on their way out? And what does the new space feel like? What does the new space feel like? The truth. The millionaire you, the wealthy you. What does she sound like? How does she move? How does she be? And what does she need from you? Let her ask. What does she need from you? She needs to feel safe. How can you offer that to her? And we'll do one more breath hold, this time different. I want you to reach your arms all the way over your head. Stretch your legs long and then breathe as if you're drinking through a big straw. Breathe in. Hold yourself full and now squeeze your hands, your arms, your face, your chest, your belly, your bum, your legs, your feet. Squeeze and hold the breath. Contain it all. Hold it all. Holding your beauty, holding your dreams, your manifestations, holding also your griefs, holding your fears, holding your worries, your doubts, everything, holding all of what is you, hold. And keep what's yours, my love. And in 3, 2, letting go, breathing out, shaking out what is not yours, let that go. Shake it out, breathe it out. Move out. What are you ready to let go of? What are you ready to release? What is no longer needed for this millionaire self, for this next level you? And as you release that, let the breath go and come back into just your gentle, natural breath that is just for you, and stillness in your body. And notice what you notice. Notice what you notice. It's all information. All of your feelings are information, and they're valid, and they make sense. What is the teaching from them? What is the takeaway? What is the aha? What is the magic? What is the medicine? That's for you. Just resting here in your body,
The power of love
with your gentle
is
breath,
here
your
now.
natural breath,
The power of now is here now.
and the emotion, the story, the wisdom that's here with you now. Hold that.
Here to create magic on earth. The power of love is here now. The power of now is here now. The power of you and me is here to create magic on earth. The power of love is here now. The power of now is here now. The power of you and me is here to create magic on earth. The power of love is here now. The power of now is here now. The power of you and me is here to create magic on earth. Let the water wash away your tears. Let the fire burn away your fears. Let the wind blow into your life such faith and trust. Oh, let the earth hold you, take care of you, and nurture you. Oh, the power of love is here now. The power of now is here now. The power of you and me is here to create magic on earth. The power of love is here now. The power of now is here now. The power of you and me is here to create magic on earth. The power of love is here now. The power of now is here now. The power of you and me is here to create magic on earth. The power of Let the water wash away your tears. Let the fire burn away our fears. Let the wind blow into your life such faith and trust. Oh, let the earth hold you, take care of you, nurture you.
Letting yourself ever so gently start to find some little movements. Just some little movements. Beginning to wake the body up and find your way back into your body. You might feel to massage or tickle or tap. Just making contact with your body. Letting the breath kind of deepen again to come back in wakefulness. And beginning to make your transition back into your space. And then eventually we'll make our way back into the call. If you're watching the recording, you can stay resting as long as you. You're going to move from this place really gently. And I do always suggest water and food and journaling. And just being really curious, keeping a really curious mind. And rather than holding judgment or storytelling around anything that came up, and that might have been, oh, nothing came up. I was just thinking the whole time, no judgment, curious. Okay, why could I not be in my body? Why doesn't it feel safe for me to be here in my body? Why do I feel to distract? What's that? And get really curious about that. It's not bad. It's just information. And the more we know about ourselves, the more power we have. Right? Or if an emotion came up, no story, no judgment. Interesting. Okay. What is that showing me? What's there? Everything is information. Maybe there was a sensation, a discomfort in your body, right? Rather than story or, oh, what's wrong? Okay, where is that on my body? Okay, get curious. Ultimately, I do believe you know. Yeah. So curious mind, reflecting, journaling, gentleness, water, nourishment. And I am around. I'm going to make sure that Jackie gives you all my Instagram and you can message me if you need anything.
Thank you. This was amazing. I'm extremely activated from that experience. Yeah, moved emotionally, and I'll share a little bit just so that people can have an insight, but knowing no matter what you experience or didn't experience, just like tapping, there's never a right or wrong experience or answer. But I could so vividly see like my $1 million self again, and she did it in a different way. And it was interesting because she wasn't glamorous. She wasn't celebrating. She was in a hat, which I was wearing earlier today, a baseball hat, her AirPods in, and life was just happening around her. And she was working on her laptop, and it was like the magic in the mundane. She's like, it happens again in a way that not that I don't see it coming, but it's just like you're so busy creating and doing the things that you love. It's just going to happen in a moment. It's just like, oh, $1 million mark again in this new way. And it brought tears to my eyes because it was so simple. And she was, just so relaxed. And so thank you. It was really cool to share that experience with you. And I'm so excited to hear, what other people felt. So
yeah, I love that. That makes me just think about, I was having a conversation recently about the I'll use the word healing for a lack of better word. I feel like we all have an idea what that, might mean. And whatever that is, if it's like healing a relationship pattern or a money story or da 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 da, there's this like, when is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? What's the moment? And we expect there to be like a moment where it's like, oh, okay, it's done. And there isn't a moment. And so I love that your experience of this next $1 million is like, it's just easy and it just happens. And it's like, oh, you're going to wake up on a Tuesday and be like, oh,
Oh yeah.
over $1 million. Okay. So it just happens,
Yeah.
it just happens. It just unfolds.
And this has been cool with the wildly wealthy woman work that, we talk about in this space a lot. And when I first started doing the wildly wealthy woman and tapping into her, I saw this like very glamorous woman who was like,
Mhm.
Glamorous would be the word. And the more I tap into the wildly wealthy woman, the more and more she just becomes me and who I am today. And
Mhm.
that is so magical because that's for me an activation. It's like, yes, we're always on this journey of becoming our next best self, and we already are
Mhm.
it now. And so that's really what I was seeing and remembering today. She's just like jeans and a t-shirt and a hat. Like, you're just you doing you.
What's coming up for me when you say that is like, okay, and so let me preface with glitz and glam and luxury is like great, and I'm
Wow,
here for it.
same.
Totally. And when you describe that, what comes up for me is like, oh, that old version or that old visual of what the wealthy woman is, she's rich. And when you describe like just this casual, I'm in my jeans, my baseball hat, that's wealthy. And what comes for me with that is like, she's wealthy in her relationships. She's wealthy in the home. She's wealthy in the forest she has around her. She's wealthy in the love that's around her. It's not just money. She's wealthy in the like, I have so many goosebumps right now. There's a difference between rich and wealthy, and wealthy doesn't have to be a show. Rich is a show.
Yeah.
And pause on that. If anyone watching this is like, but I want the glam, great. And I trust that if you're in this community, you're also highly aware of the wealth that you have that isn't money.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's so grateful you said this. I'm actually going to put this whole experience on the podcast because that's what I say at the beginning and the end of the podcast. A wildly wealthy woman
Ah,
isn't just rich, and when I looked at that part of me today, when I looked up to where she was working, there was a lake behind her and she could tell her man was around, and it's just this simple, sweet life. But to me, that's wealth. Like I had the love,
yeah.
and the ease. And I'm
Yeah.
so glad that you brought that because I'm like, yeah, the more people tap into their wildly wealthy woman, that's what they see.
Mhm.
Oh, and then they go, I already have it. I'm already driving the vehicle that
Yes.
it's already here. And that's
Yes. I love that. Okay. Okay. I love that we're on the same page. And I'm
thank
also curious. I don't know if you're like, I know it's private and personal, but if there's any shares that I am able to like hear third party, I would love to.
absolutely. Yeah. So if anyone shares with me and they give you permission, I'm happy to share
Mhm.
with you. And I really
Thank you.
encourage wherever you're listening to this is go send Kyla a message on Instagram, send her a voice note, let her know
Yes.
what came up because doors open, right? We opened a door today and there's more. There's so much more
Mhm.
in there. Where can
Mhm.
people connect with you?
Most often on the Instagram
Mhm.
at the sacred_essentials. And recently launched a podcast that I'm stoked about called Reclaimed. And it's all about women reclaiming their power. So I'm always in conversation over there, sometimes solo, sometimes with a guest. Um, Jackie.
Fun.
Yeah, that sounds like the next best thing. Yeah, so Instagram is great and the podcast is also great.
Amazing. I'll make sure it's
Yeah.
all linked up where everyone's listening. And
Thank
you
you.
are magic. Thank you for this work.
Thank
I'm
you.
so excited for more collaborations. Expect to see more collaborations from us.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Yes. Thank you for having me. And thanks everyone for participating and trusting myself and Jackie and yourself mostly because the more, and again, I feel like I keep saying this to this group. I don't need to be saying this to you, but it feels I'm going to say it anyway. Like the more we're doing this work and the more we're stepping into ourselves and the more we're claiming, it's a ripple. And so thank you for doing the work because it provides a safe landing place for me to do the work and that ripples. So Just a big thank you.
It's huge. It's bigger than you know.
Yeah.
Well, go follow, go send her a message, tell her what you saw if you want, or if you have questions, or if nothing happened. You know, I people connect with me after because I can help them go deeper too. So
Yeah.
um,
Thank you, my love.
next time. Bye for now.
Okay.